Hey friends, this is Michael Bohm with Youth Apologetics Training, soon to be Answer Ready Ministries. Today we're going to start a new series. We're going to be talking about women and the treatment of women in the Bible. So many atheists and feminists, folks from Islam, so many different faiths of the world. Mostly, though, for the most part, it comes from the naturalistic, materialistic, humanistic side. You hear objections that the Bible is chauvinist, it's misogynist, it degrades and debases women. I've heard that from Wiccans. Oh man, I've heard that so many times from Wiccans. Friends, is that the case? Is that really what the Bible teaches? There are things in the Bible that kind of make a person raise their eyebrow. And I want to talk about those in this series. Like, does the Bible say that women must obey their husbands? Or is it a sin for women to speak in church? Does the Bible say women have a lower standing than men? Does the Bible authorize discrimination against women? And should women submit? Should they be submissive? And so, friends, in this series, we're going to get down and dirty. We're going to get in depth on this topic. I'll tell you right now, right up front, the Bible does not condone discrimination. The Bible, in fact, it is the exact opposite. Friends, ladies, listen, the Bible lifts up women. The Bible takes place, as we're going to see, in a culture that degrades and debases women in so many ways. And the Bible goes in and subtly changes that thought pattern from the inside out. It's amazing how the Bible does this. It does not take on this sinful practice of misogyny, hatred towards women and discrimination. It doesn't hit it head on. As you're going to see, the scriptures really, they change the person from the inside out. They change the person's view of women in so many different ways. And I'll give you a hint, friends. Everywhere that Christianity has gone, women's rights have gone through the roof. Women have been freed. They have been lifted up. They have been given dignity. They've been, in so many ways, friends, women, their talents, their abilities, their spiritual gifts, their freedom, their honor, their dignity, all these things, their true beauty, all right, are all lifted up. And so, in this series, we're going to talk about all these things. But first, something that all you guys and ladies need to realize is that throughout the world and throughout time, and even today, throughout the world, women don't enjoy the privileges and the freedom and the standing as they do here in the U.S. Why is that? Well, I would contend it's from Christianity. It's from this nation's early roots in Christianity. No, I'm not saying that all the founding fathers were Christians. Definitely not. But many of the people were. And that gave this country a great foundation. As we move forward and we start embracing more and more humanism and the theory of evolution, we're seeing that women are starting to become more and more debased, degraded, put down in the classical sense. In many ways that we see throughout the world, we are starting to go back the way of the world. But going back to ancient Greece, we have people like Plato. He was the original inventor of Plato. He said things like, wives should be had in common as among other animals, so also among men. I mean, what? What? In ancient Greece, the wife was barred from education. She could not take part in the welfare of her nation. Women were given as prizes in athletic games. Now, I mean, is that not just ridiculous? Absolutely disgusting. In many Arab countries, the woman is basically a slave. When a woman is born, the family is given condolences. Okay? If a boy is born, then they're congratulated. In Saudi Arabia, women aren't even allowed to drive a car. In Islamic culture, women are allowed to be beaten and sexually assaulted. Okay? Guys, and I've talked about this in my series on Islam. Women are property to the typical Islamic mindset. A woman is just a piece of meat that is property. And it is her duty to allow you to have your way with her at any time and however. If she makes you mad for any reason, it's okay to just beat her up. Okay, that is how Islam treats women. In fact, to take it a few steps further, in Islam, most women, most if not all women, go to hell because they're women. That's what they teach. Okay. But then the men, those manly, brave men who strap bombs onto themselves and go into crowded areas and blow themselves up and slaughtering women and children, oh, well, they go straight to paradise where they have 72 virgins that they can have their way with for all of eternity while they get wasted on wine. All right? In Hinduism, women fare a little bit better, but for example, there's one of the Hindu sacred books. It says a woman has no other god on earth than her husband. All right, we see that practice in Hinduism, and for the most part, this practice has gone away, mostly because of Christianity, where when a husband dies, the woman is supposed to be thrown alive on top of his funeral pyre. Awesome, right? Okay, Confucius, he said 10 daughters do not equal 1 son. Buddhism, the only hope the great Buddha holds out for a woman is that in the course of ages, she might turn out to be a man in the next world. And this is the burden of the prayers of the women of Buddhists. In South Africa, a baby girl can be sold for 14 cows. And then those cows can be traded for more wives. And on it goes. Guys, if it sounds like I'm getting a little aggravated, yeah, I kind of am getting myself worked up. I am tired of this objection that Christianity holds women down. It's a patriarchal faith. You know, Richard Dawkins, in one of his monologues, he likes to go off about the God of the Bible. And one of the things he calls him is misogynistic. Misogyny, looked up in Wikipedia, it says, is hatred or dislike of women or girls. Misogyny can be manifested in numerous ways, including sexual discrimination, denigration of women, violence against women, and sexual objectification of women. Misogyny has been characterized as a prominent feature of the mythologies of the ancient world, as well as of various religions. Guys, the God of the Bible is anything but misogynistic, as we're going to see as we move forward in this series. Now, some people come forward and say, hey, well, what about the gods of Rome? Okay, Rome, they had gods and goddesses, goddesses like Diane and Aphrodite. And I've heard these types of objections from feminists and Wiccans. The thing that's disgusting here is that these gods, the worship of these gods does not elevate the status of women. All right, you go to these temples for Diana and Aphrodite. And what are the priestesses? These women who are supposedly all elevated and high and mighty. What were they? They were prostitutes. They were priestesses in the temple. They were prostitutes. They sold themselves for money and had to perform sexual acts as a form of a religious sacrament. I don't know, ladies. Does that sound like that holds up women? Does that sound like the status of the woman is elevated in that circumstance? I don't think so. No, she's used as a piece of meat. And that's what we're seeing in society today. That is, the more debased, the more debauched, the more decadent our culture gets, the more that is becoming a reality again. Women you can't even stand in line at a grocery store without having your eyes gouged out, men, you know what I'm talking about, with a million pictures of scantily clad women staring back at you from the magazines there. Pornography. Dude, seriously. And look at all the wonderful things that the feminist movement has brought to women nowadays. Ladies, now you have to go and go to the front lines of a battle, because the women's place in this planet is definitely at the front lines of combat. All right? And women, okay, let's be honest, women are not as strong as men. But now the feminist movement wants to make women no different than men. There's no distinction now. Okay, we're all just the same. So women are finding themselves in a lot of these more strenuous jobs and, really getting worked over by this hard work. Women are being freed and given the freedom to choose to slaughter their innocent unborn child that's inside of them. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't it just so freeing that we can now take our babies and slaughter them and cause the woman untold amount of guilt and shame for the rest of their life, while this careless, irresponsible punk that got her pregnant runs off and ditches her with this responsibility? Isn't it awesome? Isn't the woman just getting so much rights and freedom? Let's not talk about that little lady that just got slaughtered, who just got cut up in the womb and tossed into a trash can. Let's not talk about her. We're just going to talk about how wonderful this culture has become from women's rights. So, what does the Bible say? Sorry, guys, I'm getting myself worked up. Calm down. What does the Bible say? All right, well, we're going to really get into this more tomorrow, but I'll give you some hints. Guys, throughout the Scriptures, we have instance after instance of women in a culture, in a world that downgrades women, okay, holds them back. They're a property. They're a piece of meat. They're basically no more than a slave in the man's household. In that type of a world, the Bible has women like Deborah, who lead Israel, leaders of Israel, and judges of Israel. Women like Esther, who save Israel as well. Hannah, Huldah, Jochebed, Miriam, on and on and on. All these women who are spoken of in glowing terms, lifted up, exalted, basically heroes in many ways. We have two different books of the Bible that are named after women, Ruth and Esther. The entire books are devoted to talking about these women. We know that from the Bible they're created in the image of God. Okay? Men and women are created equal. As Paul says, there's neither male nor female, Jew nor Greek. Alright? Marriage is spoken about as a union between a man and a woman. The woman being cherished and loved. And the husband loving his wife so much that he would give his life for her. Does that sound like misogynistic? Okay, women were allowed to participate in temple worship. Okay, and not as prostitutes, mind you. Women were leaders in many circumstances. Guys, they play awesome, important roles throughout the Bible. Does that sound like a book that holds women down? So I'm going to stop right there. Friends, tomorrow we are really going to start looking at this. Does the Bible really hold women down? Is the Bible hateful towards women? Does the Bible teach that women are just subjects, objects, slaves? Just something that the man bosses around? Is the woman just supposed to blindly be submissive to the man? All right, all these issues. Is the woman, what is that? What does it mean when Paul says a woman should not speak in church? What's up with that? Okay, I got to admit, the first time I read that, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what? What is that? Well, towards the end of this series, we're going to talk about that. You know what? It's going to make sense. It's not misogynistic. It's going to make a lot of sense. And the way we see it in this culture today, it's not what Paul was getting at. If you want a little hint, if you want to get at this beforehand, read the entire chapter of 1 Corinthians chapter 14. Read the whole chapter, get the context, and then we're going to add to it. But once you get the context, right away you're going to be like, oh, I get it. But then we're going to give you a lot more background and really look at it a little closer. It's a different culture. It was a different time, and things were much different. And also, Paul was addressing a specific issue in the church about things being done decently and in order. Oops, I kind of tipped my hand there. Friends, if you like these types of podcasts, if you're new to Youth Apologetics Training / Answer Ready Ministries, that's the future ministry name, come out to either one of my websites, AnswerReadyMinistries.com or YouthApologeticsTraining.com. And on those websites, you can click on the podcast archive. I have over 550 episodes in there. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Sorry. That's just awesome. They're all free, and they're all for you guys. They're all on topics like creation, evolution, cult research, even topics like the occult, Bible contradictions, reasons we can believe that the Bible is the Word of God, and on. So many different topics. Stuff that if you like this, you're probably going to find that interesting as well. Check it out, would you? And so with that, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.